Welcome to this episode of Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. Real women, real stories, real journeys, and no filter. Join Gina, your host, to share the experiences and stories of solo female travelers and advocates from all over the world, with a mission to empower women of all ages, backgrounds, and life stages to embrace solo female travel with confidence and enthusiasm, while being authentic and real, unscripted. Confronting the challenges and apprehensions many women face when considering solo adventures, providing inspiration to break through those barriers. Sharing how life transitions, loss, and trauma can lead to amazing experiences, rediscovery, and life journeys. The good, the bad, and the ugly of authentic and honest travel. So let's throw out the script, get comfy, and jump right into this episode.
On the show today, we welcome Dahlia Kimball. Dahlia is a life and mindset coach who empowers the black sheep to step into their power and have the courage to live without regret. With a master's in psychology and organisational behaviour and development, and a personal journey of breaking free from cultural and societal expectations, Dahlia helps women build lives that feel just as good on the inside as they look on the outside. Her approach blends soul and strategy, helping her clients to rewrite the rules and finally feel at home in their own story. In this episode, we'll dive into solo female travel stories, how to step outside your comfort zone, traveling as an intro extrovert, and stories of a digital nomad. Welcome everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Wanderlust Solo Women Travel Unscripted. And I am so excited to welcome to the show our guest Dahlia. Welcome. And you're tuning in from Thailand today.
I am. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for our conversation today.
Yeah, I mean, we talked quite a while ago, so it's good to have you. You've been out of Thailand for a little while and now you're back, so we can get stuck into our amazing interview. And you learnt a little bit about Dahlia in her bio there, but we're going to start before we dive into our really interesting conversation with our signature Pass the Parcel question. And now Claire asked, and her question for Dahlia is there a place or country you have felt like you have been there before, like a deja vu moment? Is there anything like that you've experienced?
Definitely. The only place that comes to mind is India.
Wow.
Yeah. So I wanted to go there for many years. And one of the reasons I didn't is because so many people told me it's not safe to go as a solo female traveler. And I just kind of bought into that. And I didn't question or didn't do anything, but I really had this desire to go there for a long time. And at one point I was solo traveling, and it wasn't to India. I was actually in the Philippines, but I still had like a couple of months left of the trip. And I just had this intuition, this voice inside, like, go to India. And in the moment, I was like, but I don't have anyone to go with, and it's not safe. And like all of these voices in my mind. Cut a long story short, I did end up going, and I trusted myself. And I said, okay, I'm gonna go. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna apply for a visa, and if it gets accepted, it's a sign. Well, obviously, I applied, and the visa got accepted. So I ended up going. And interestingly enough, the moment that the wheels of the plane hit the ground in Delhi, I literally said out loud, I was like, I'm home. And I was like, whoa, where's this coming from? And from that moment, every time I was like I literally was in the place, and I just felt this soul connection, like I'm home, I've been before. And I ended up meeting people along the way that kind of really like confirmed that and emphasized that. And it was like, we knew that we'd met each other before, like in a past life. It was like the craziest experience. So that was definitely a soul connection of like, I've been here before, I feel at home, and wow, this is an incredible place and experience.
And isn't that a cool thing to have? I've had that happen, probably not to that profound effect, but I have definitely been to different countries and felt very at home, or it's been very familiar to me. And it's quite a neat feeling. I think it's really special when you do have that.
Yeah. It's magical. It's like, wow, like it opens your eyes so much as well to different people and different experiences and different cultures. And like, wow, like you can feel at home in somewhere that's completely different, be out of your comfort zone, somewhere in something that you've never experienced before, and you still feel that connection. I think that's a big thing that comes up for me with home, like that feeling of connection.
100%. And I love one of your quotes from your coaching business is step out of their comfort zone, helping people step out of their comfort zone and have courage to live life with no regrets. And that's sort of, you touched on it when we talked earlier about going solo to destinations, even though people were sort of instilling fears into you, like you just mentioned about India. What advice can you give to our listeners regarding, obviously, I think definitely for solo female travelers, when you say you're going to certain destinations, quite often you get a lot of negative stuff back. This is going to happen to you. That's going to happen to you. How did you deal with it, and what advice could you give others on how they should deal with it?
I love this question. And I think it's so important as well. So I would say two important things are coming up. I would say number one, you do have to have your wits about you. I think that is wherever you are in the world. So my rule of thumb is anything that I wouldn't do at home, why would I do it somewhere else? Like if I'm not going to walk down a dark alley at 2 o'clock in the morning in most places in the world, why would I do it when I'm going traveling? So I think you do have to have your wits about you and trust your intuition. And I think something that I really took from that experience that is so, so important is to be mindful of whose opinions you are listening to. Because it was only after that experience I actually started questioning, and I realized that everyone who did tell me it wasn't safe had never even been there, and it was based off them hearing other stories or other opinions or listening or seeing things online or whatever it was. And it really made me mindful at this until today to question when people are sharing with me things, are they doing it because they genuinely care and they're trying to keep me safe and protect me? Or have they actually been there, and are they walking the path that I want to be doing? And are they living the life that I'm desiring to live? So if you are listening to people's opinions and you're going to somewhere, and if someone's telling you it's not safe, the first question you probably want to ask yourself is this person sharing their opinions based off their own lived experience or from things that they've heard? And even if it is from their own experience, I would still take that, I can't think of the word like at face value, because everyone also has objective experiences. Like I can share with you certain places or certain things that I've been to, and I'm like, oh, I didn't vibe with that place. I didn't vibe with that country. And it could be someone else that had a completely different experience. So I always say to people, I do recommend to experience things based on your own personal experience. And you've got to be mindful and have your wits about you. Like if you know somewhere is genuinely more of a dangerous place, then do it in a way that, is obviously safe and you're keeping yourself safe in the process as much as possible as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think common sense. And you touched on it. And it's really funny, like, I don't know, with some people, being on holiday seems to give them this ticket to act like a bit of an idiot. And I've never understood that. And you're exactly right. Some of the stuff, would you do it at home? And they go and do it and then moan about it. But it's like, would you have done that at home? Probably not. Yeah, it's 100% using your common sense. I couldn't agree more. And obviously, yeah, some places are going to be more, I don't want to use the word dangerous because that's not quite the right word, but more cautious for women travelers. But I also feel too, what you touched on is everybody's experience is different. Because I've gone to places and I've had amazing experiences and connected differently. And I've, even with the trips I run with women, I've been there physically with them when I've witnessed it. You can have two people and one will have a real connection, have a totally different experience, and the other person won't. So you're exactly right. Even though they might be going and doing exactly the same things, their experiences aren't necessarily going to be the same. So I think being objective when you're getting that advice is really good perspective.
Yeah, it's definitely important. And I do just want to add, because I know you brought up about the comfort zone. And I think something that's really important to remember is that if you are, for example, solo traveling for the first time or doing anything that you've never done before, it is going to feel uncomfortable and it is going to feel scary. And that's okay. Like I still remember the first time that I solo traveled, and this was literally 10 years ago at this point, to Thailand, where I'm living now. This is why I caught the travel bug. But I remember getting on that plane, and I remember the plane took off and I was like, what the hell am I doing? And I started to freak out. And I remember the first trip, I had everything planned to a T, and like, I was so nervous and so excited at the same time. And for me, that's always a sign that I'm on the right path in life. Like if I feel nervous and scared and excited at the same time, I'm like, good things are coming, big things are coming. But I think it's really normal I think the point is it's really normal to feel uncomfortable and to feel all of these feelings and to feel fear and to feel scared. It's not a sign that anything's gone wrong. It's not a sign not to do it. If anything, it's a sign like you're on the right path. Go for it.
100%. And, that's a really good segue into where you started your solo travel journey is to Thailand. Do you want to share that story?
Yeah. So the first time was to Thailand. And yeah, I'm looking back, I'm like, there's so many lessons that I just learned from that trip. Like I had the best time, don't get me wrong, but I packed so much. I can't even tell you how much stuff I packed, like actually ridiculous. For 3 weeks, I packed high heels, I think. I'm like, who wears high heels in Thailand on a backpacker vacation? So I learned very quickly that trip how to minimize and travel. Like if you can't lift your backpack and lift that comfortably, take things out of it. But yeah, also I booked everything. I booked like all the internal flights, all of the accommodation, all of the trips, all of the things. And if you are solo traveling, leave room to meet people, leave room to be spontaneous, leave room you might want to stay in one place longer than the other. And I get that it's different. If like something I do just want to add another lesson that just traveling taught me is that I get that if you have a limited period of time, you want to explore all of the places and try and cram as many things in as possible. Personally, I've learned I'd rather do less places and experience places more unto the full and to leave things for next time, because otherwise you might just find yourself like ticking off the boxes of seeing all the places, but then you're on the road or on boats or on planes like half of the day and you're not really enjoying the place anyway, because you're always thinking, tomorrow I need to get up early and move to the next place. So I think India actually taught me to slow down and to travel to less places and to actually explore and experience them properly. And then you actually get to know the culture and the people and different things. And it's like, it's so much more fun and relaxed personally doing it that way than rushing and just ticking off boxes to see more places.
Yeah, I mean, I was very similar. I did a few solo trips, but my real big OE was I went to the UK and then through Europe, but I was what they call woofing, willing workers on organic farms in Wales. And I did the same thing. I packed one pair of high heels and I packed a buffy pair of hiking boots. I don't even hike.
Love it.
So I had these hiking boots. I ended up, because they were really good and so were they, I ended up posting them home because I was away for quite a long time. But you're so right. You learn to minimize, and I think it's so important too that, yeah, you do have to carry, there's some places you go, you have to carry your stuff. So traveling light is definitely also a lesson I've learned, and the flexibility. I did the same. I pre-booked a whole lot of stuff in Paris because that was where I was arriving. Pre-booked the Eiffel Tower and this and that. Didn't even go up the Eiffel Tower and and watched it from down below with a bunch of newfound friends, and we had cheap wine at midnight. It was amazing. But yeah, I agree. If you've got limited time, you do have to be organized, but build in flexibility. I think that's really, because things go wrong also. Planes are delayed, trains run late. And you only need one connection to go wrong to domino effect your whole trip and blow it out. So I think that's really, really good advice. And then what made you go back to Thailand to, like, you're now living there? So what made you do that?
Interesting thing is, and I actually forgot this until you actually just mentioned this now, which is really funny. The first time I went there, I fell in love with the place. It was incredible. It was just like, I felt so free. I felt like the first time you solo travel, I'm like, I feel so alive right now. Like, wow, this
Yeah.
is so cool. And I got addicted to traveling. I think when you get the travel bug, you get it and there's no going back, the good and the bad. And then I decided, like, the following year, at the time I was actually studying, I was doing my degrees. When it was like the semester break, like when it was like in between years, I was like, this is my time to travel. So like I was studying psychology at the time, so it was quite intense. I was working, and then anytime I had a break, it was like, let's get on a plane and enjoy life. So the next year, I decided to actually explore different countries, and I actually started, I think, in New Zealand, which was beautiful and stunning.
Wow.
And then on the way back, it just made sense to go to Thailand because it was like literally halfway across the world
Yeah.
and on the way back. And that trip, I actually did not. I came back to this place I was now, and I just did not have a good time. And the reason I didn't enjoy it is because, looking back, is because I had such a good time on the first time that I came with probably very high expectations. And this is a really big lesson, I think a really powerful lesson. And now I really try to come to places, zero expectations, like expect the best, expect that the best is going to happen, but don't come with those high expectations. And it was just very different because I met different people. The trip, just things weren't vibing at the same level as they were the year before. And I ended up, because I was comparing it and just expecting it to be like incredible, it just ended up, I kind of like got a little bit disappointed from that trip. And then I didn't go back here for a while. And then it was actually, I think it was around COVID time where I was traveling in India beforehand, and then COVID hit. So I actually ended up going back home. And then I wanted to travel again, and half of the world was closed. And Thailand was like one of the places that was easier to get into. And I was like, this is the time to have a different experience. I just felt a calling to kind of come back because so many people were in this place I am now and that I'd spoken to in between those years. And they were like, oh, it's the most amazing place and it's magical and it's incredible. And I was like, because I remembered that previous experience that wasn't as good, I was like, I need to give this place another try. I feel like I need to reset expectations. So I remember just coming here and arriving on the boat, and I was like, literally I just had this little ceremony with myself of like expectations, leaving them in the sea, being open, whatever's going to happen, I'm open to receive that. And it was incredible. And I ended up staying here for 6 months during COVID. And then I went back home, went traveling on and off. And then I ended up coming back here a year and a half ago at this point. And yeah, it's home away from home.
And that's, we were talking earlier about whether you call yourself a digital nomad and what you see that title means, especially now you've got more of I don't want to call it a home base, but a place that you use and live in rather than moving constantly. What do you think is the definition of a digital nomad for you? And how would you describe yourself now? Because you're not quite an expat, I suppose. So how would you view that?
I love this question. And I think you hit the nail on the head in how you would define it for you. Because I think when I first started this journey, I would see all of the things online and like, it looks incredible and digital nomad and working by the beach and laptop on the sand and all of these things. And I was like, they're living the life, they're living the dream. And when I started on the journey, when I actually started traveling more, even before I was working, I can't tell you, it looks amazing online, but it's also very exhausting and takes a lot of mental energy to plan things and move around and go from this place to that place. And I got to the place that I think towards the end of my solo travels where I was literally dreaming of having a kitchen and being able to wake up and cook an omelette for breakfast. That sounds ridiculous, but I was sick and tired of living out a backpack or living out a suitcase. And I was just craving somewhere that felt like home and just brought that sense of stability in a sense. So I think something that this journey has really taught me, and I'm just kind of integrating this now, is just like at this point, I'm obviously working fully remotely, working online, and I am technically a digital nomad. But I think one of the bigger lessons is just because you can doesn't mean you have to. Meaning, just because I can book a flight tomorrow doesn't mean I have to. I'm happy being here. I'm happy being home. And I think for me, being a digital nomad, I love the flexibility that nothing's tying me back. As in, I can go and book a flight tomorrow if I want to, but I also don't want to. And I think it's okay to be in that place and to acknowledge that, because I think if you're looking at people online and if you're looking at the definition of a digital nomad and how most people see it, it's that you need to move to a different place or visit this many countries in a month or this many countries in a year. And I've been in the same place at this point for a while and I'm okay with that. And like, am I a digital nomad? Technically, yeah, I work online and I can move around, but you also can do it in a way that's more slow and you can have a home base and you can have stability, and I can still travel from here. So I think everyone has to see what works for them in the definition, but just because everyone else is working from different places, moving around all the time doesn't mean you have to as well. And side note, I love working on the beach, as in like cafes and overlooking the beach, but it's the most inconvenient thing on the planet to work on the sand or to work on the beach, because what you want to do there is sunbathe and chill and not work. And number two, the sun's in your eyes. And number three, there's sand everywhere. Like, it might look good in a cute Instagram picture, but it is not reality. And don't do it. Don't fall for it.
It's a bit like sex on the beach. The idea of it is wonderful and romantic, but the realities aren't quite live up to how it really is in life.
Yeah, I've been in places before and I'm literally sitting on a deck chair and trying to work. And I'm like, it's cool. It's a cool picture for Instagram, but this is like, I'm not going to get any work done today. This is not reality.
So it's really being digitally flexible, because, while you were just saying that, because a lot of people work online in various formats now. So it's not like people don't have to have a shop front or a physical building they're working in. So like you said, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You have the flexibility to work from anywhere. And I think that's that pressure that, you have to be in a different destination every day. And, you've got to keep moving as a digital nomad. I think that's the fantasy in a way. I mean, obviously people do it, but I couldn't agree more. There's times even when I was just traveling and I just wanted a normal breakfast. You just want some creature comforts that you have from home. And that's what, having some sort of home base does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, the other thing as well is that I think when you are far away from home and far away from family and far away from friends at home, I think community is such an important thing.
Yeah.
And I think it can get lonely if you're on the road and if you're traveling all the time. And you're experiencing the world and you're seeing places. But if you are doing it for a long period of time, I think you really need people around you. And I think if you are moving around a lot, it's really challenging to to connect with people on a deep level, because you're always connecting and moving and connecting and
Yeah.
moving. So I personally, one of the things I love about here is that there is a conscious community and there is such a big digital nomad community. So we meet on a weekly basis, we work together, we go out together, we do things together, and it makes a big difference, because it's like you just have connection. And at the end of the day, no matter, and I think this is what I learned from the second trip in Thailand, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can be in the most beautiful place on the planet, but if you don't have that connection, or you don't have the people around, and that doesn't mean you need to travel with people from the beginning, you can meet people along the way, but it's really the people who make the place more than the place itself. That's what I
100%.
found. So I think just having those people around, especially if you are looking for craving more stability and more of a home base, I think is really important to be surrounded by the right people, especially when you're building something and going after big things as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, what you brought up earlier about, when you went back the second time to Thailand and it wasn't quite the same. It's I've had moments where I've traveled and a lot of it's the connections you make, like the people you've met along the way and then the fun things you get to do with them. And you can't recreate that. There's serendipitous moments that happen that you can't recreate. And again, I've said it before in other episodes. I always say travel with no intentions, or expectations, because you don't want to build something up and then it actually spoils. You might still be having actually a great experience, but because you've built it up to a certain thing, you're let down a little bit. So I couldn't, you really explained something really well there, I think. You don't want to try and recreate something, just because you've had it then and you're not going to have it again.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more, because otherwise you're always going to it's never going to meet expectations, and you're always going to,
Yeah.
it's just going to always be disappointing. So I try to look at every experience as like, even if you're having the best time and things don't always evolve or continue in the way that you want to, like, did you have an amazing experience during that period of time? It's kind of like experiences as one thing at a time, versus like it has to always be the same the next time. Like, if anything, I really try to be in the mindset of like, this was something better, as in like, it was amazing last time. How is this time going to be like its own experience in itself, without
Yeah.
comparing it to how you think it should be as well? But I don't know why this is coming up, Gina, but you said something like at the beginning around like the discomfort and the solo traveling. And like, I feel like it's connecting to all of these things in terms of connection, because I'm like, when I first solo traveled, I really considered myself as someone who's like shy and a complete introvert.
Yeah.
And I think one of the most powerful things that solo traveling has personally taught me is not just to leave my comfort zone and literally physically getting on a plane and traveling and doing things by myself, but to really enjoy my own company, to be able to sit and speak to anyone. And that was never something I would do in the past. Like at the beginning, when just as I'm reflecting back, when I first traveled, I used to hate sitting in a restaurant by myself. Like that was my worst thing on the planet. And I would be so self-conscious, and everyone's looking at me and people are thinking like all of these things or whatever else not. And now it's things that I do intentionally and I enjoy. Like I love going to cafes like today, and I don't have an issue sitting by myself or going to places, or if there's if there's things that I want to do today and I don't have anyone to do it with because timing doesn't work or circumstances or whatever it is, that's not going to stop me from doing the thing. And back in the day, it would. And I think when you do solo travel, you get to know yourself on such a deeper connection. And if you can't enjoy being in your own space, like there's what to do around that. And I think solo travel just gives you that opportunity to get to know yourself, to put yourself out there, to get outside of your comfort zone, to speak to different people, to get to know different people. And I think you almost prove to yourself like, that you're more capable than you think. And then that gives you like a
100%.
lot of power. So yeah, even if you're an introvert, you can totally solo travel and you can just find a way that works for you. At this point, I say I'm more of an introverted extrovert, because I still need my own space and my own time. And I thrive off that, and I can't be around people 24/7. But I also totally feed off other people's energy, and for the good and the
Yeah.
bad. And I need to be surrounded by like-minded people. That just fills me up so much. Like literally just yesterday at the time in this recording, I went to this women's entrepreneur event, and I just came out of there feeling so full. I was like, this is so good. I love being surrounded by like-minded women, by like-minded people. There's so much power in that. And I need my own time then afterwards to be in that hermit and to kind of reconnect as well.
Yeah, there's two things actually I want to touch on there. One is the introvert extrovert thing and allowing for downtime, and then two, the power of connection. Because I've had the same thing. Actually very similar to you. When I first solo traveled, I actually was quite a shy person, and exactly like you, I had to ask for directions and I had to engage with people. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got anywhere. And one of my trips to Bali, when I actually first went there, and same thing, I was invited by someone I'd met while I was over there to a women's entrepreneur circle. And it was just this welcoming feeling. And I was like, wow, like there's people, your vibe attracts your tribe, but it's really empowering when you come away and you've just met these people but you're on the same wavelength. So those two things about, traveling as an introvert and having downtime but the amazing thing of the connections you make with total strangers, I think is so important with solo travel.
100%. It's so cool because I literally have like people in all different places of the world, and I'm sure you do too when you travel to different places. And then it's like you go back to places, or sometimes they're traveling and I meet in different countries, and it's just so cool to be able to connect with people. And like we're even now, like I think there's so much power in social media. I want to bring that up for a second because I think I definitely used to have such a love-hate relationship with social media. And at this point, it's like, I just see the power in it, the power of connections. Like we're literally on other sides of the world right now and we're connecting and bringing conversations here. So like, how freaking cool is that? There's so much power. Obviously in person, it's even more incredible, but there is so much power. Like if you are in a place where you want to connect with more like-minded people, there's so many opportunities nowadays, literally from the comfort of our home to do that, whether it's literally listening to podcasts like this, guys, Facebook groups, like there's so many different ways. And I think connection to like-minded people is just one of the most powerful things that we can go after in life.
Yeah, it's so true. And I've been talking about it a little bit recently, the whole bit about solo travel. We talk about solo, but it's an old saying, but solo travel doesn't mean you're alone. I mean, I've met actually more people solo traveling than I have, like now I have a partner, than when I travel with him. It's a totally different experience. And I don't know, have you found that solo traveling, you have connected with more people?
100,000,000%. Because I think when you are, like, I've experienced this as well. I think when you're with other people, you just feel automatically kind of more comfortable. So you don't necessarily need to speak to other people. Whereas versus when you're alone, you need to create those connections. You get to create those connections. It's different. So I've definitely experienced that as well. Like when I've solo traveled, been like, wow, I never would have experienced this experience or met this person if I was with someone else. And I'm not saying like traveling with someone is also great. Like that also is like, it's different, but it's also great. I think just having that mix of both. But I think there's definitely a lot of advantages to solo travel as well. And yeah, I think for me, it was just like always about, I can do this. Like I can leave my comfort zone. It doesn't always feel good. Like even yesterday when I went to this event, and I've been to so many events before, it was like a group of people that I didn't know, that I'd never met before. So like previous events, it's kind of like a group, like a weekly group that we keep on going to. So obviously I know them and I feel more comfortable. So I still had that feeling yesterday when I walked into the room of like, and it's like that fear and like that kind of, I want to get, why am I doing this? Like, I want to get out of this one. What did I put myself in this situation for? Like, this was literally the first thought. But then after 5 minutes and after connecting, and like one person is just a little bit kind or says one thing or it's friendly and gives you like that feeling of connection, it's like, okay, I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I sat through that feeling, like through that discomfort. And then I just came out of there with so many more connections. So yeah, like I'm just all about connecting with more like-minded people. And I think when you solo travel, you meet people from like literally all walks of life, all around the world, different cultures, different experiences. Like you just have a different level of conversation as well. I think about this all the time when I'm here, like in Thailand, and just the level of conversations that we have sometimes even over breakfast or in cafes. I'm like, wow, like this is not guys, do you realize this is not a standard conversation for a Tuesday morning? Most people are not having these kind of conversations.
Yeah, I on a recent trip to Cuba, I was the first 5 days there, I was by myself, and it was just before a hurricane was hitting. Everything was shut up. It was a bit of a surreal experience. But I have tattoos, and there was a tattoo shop, and I ended up going in, and the guy who was managing was actually a young guy across the road, and he said, "Do you want to come for a coffee?" And I was like, "Well, I got nothing better to do," And anyway, and we were talking about quantum physics. That was our first conversation. Like, I can't see that happening. Like, yeah, with it, and you're so right.
Yeah, I literally had I have crazy conversations here, but just like I think the level of open-mindedness, like I don't know, things that a lot of people don't speak about, like, yeah, just living life differently, living life unconventionally, open relationships, different financial situations, so many different things. And it's like, there's just a level of open-mindedness that just opens your mind that there's different ways, to to live and to think. Like, I love being surrounded by people in general. As much as I love being surrounded by people who are like-minded, I also love to be surrounded by people who think differently and challenge me to think differently, because it just makes me question things as well.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Like, other people who have different views that are opposing you, that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I love having conversations with people, they're not arguments and they're not heated debates, but they are debates, because I love a Gemini. So I sort of sit on the fence a little bit. So I love hearing both people's views. And I think it gives you such a different perspective and understanding as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And what would be one of your tips? Well, actually, two tips. One, for someone who's thinking of being a digital nomad and maybe going abroad and living abroad sometime and starting that journey, what would be one of the lessons you've learned and some advice you could give if you were telling yourself?
It's a great question. I would honestly say, first of all, be honest with yourself about what you want, as in what you desire, because for some people, like, first of all, do you want to be somewhere tropical? Do you want to be somewhere hot? Do you want to be somewhere by a beach? Do you want to be somewhere by the mountains? Like, if you're a beach person, but then you're moving to a city, that might not make you happy just because someone else is doing that, So I think you've got to ask yourself what you want as well. But the second thing is really the people. I would personally say, like, look at places where there's already digital nomad communities, start speaking to people who are living there and kind of get the vibe as well, and then going from that place. But I think people make a big difference, because, like, where I am right now, there's so many digital nomad events, there's digital nomad dinners, there's digital nomad working together, the places to go, there's different gyms, there's like so many different things, and it makes a big difference. Because again, I don't go to everything every single day, and there's so many different things. Like, it could be overwhelming at times, but there's that option to do that, and it's really easy to meet people. And I think the people at the end of the day make a big difference. And especially if you are a digital nomad, you might be more in an entrepreneur mindset as well, and you're probably building something and doing things that a lot of people won't be doing. If you're surrounded by it, it's so powerful. So just go to a place where there's communities, and there's so many places like that nowadays. So I would start there, and if you don't like it, you can move around. At least try from that place.
Love that. And what would you tell yourself 10 years ago when you first started your solo travel journey, other than the packing tip and not to take your heels? What is one thing you would have told your younger self then about advice you would have given yourself?
To trust that everything is going to work out in the best way possible. And apart from the packing, I would say it's okay. Trust that you can just book the first flight and the first couple of nights, and everything is going to unfold from there in the best way possible.
Love that. That's perfect advice. And we always end our episodes with a quick fire round. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions and just answer the first thing that comes into your mind. If you had a choice, is it a cityscape or a nature retreat?
Nature, 100%.
I don't know if I should ask this one. Do you have a favorite curse word that you can't stop saying when you're frustrated?
I don't think so. Trying to think. I don't know.
That's good. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing.
I feel like I might say fuck a lot, but I'm not sure. I'm like, let's talk again when I'm angry and I'll let you know. No, I'm joking.
Oh, this is a good one because we were talking about it earlier. Solo dinner, fancy restaurant or street food?
Street food any day. I've had the best food, some of the best food, just traveling and just experiencing different cultures. And I actually like a mix of both. Like, I do in general. I think it's not the last thing I'll just say, just back to that side of things, is that you can have both. You can have this and that. I love sometimes just like camping and staying in a tent and then being in a luxury hotel. Like, you can have both. You can enjoy both. Doesn't have to be always one or the other as well. But
it's nice to have a little splurge every now and again.
Yeah.
One word to describe your favorite solo travel moment.
Alive.
Oh, I love that. That's a perfect way to round things off. And for our next guest, you have a question that you're going to pass on. What is your question to ask the next guest?
I do. My question is, what is the most beautiful phrase that you have learned in another language while traveling?
And it's so funny, like here in New Zealand, our accents are a bit rare, but if someone says something in French, it doesn't matter what it is, or Italian, it sounds amazing. So I love that question. So it'll be interesting to see how our next guest answers it. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the show, and I've been really excited to finally get you here. So thank you so much. Is there anything you'd like to share about the services you offer? All of Dahlia's contact details and everything down below in the comments and in our socials. But is there anything you'd love to share?
I essentially, in a nutshell, help people to really just break free from society community called free community to kind of like really connect with like-minded supportive women. So if you want to join that, just follow me on Instagram and you'll probably have all of the details there, or just send me a message and we'll connect and I'll share more details.
That's so exciting. So thank you so much for joining us from beautiful Thailand. I can't wait till I finally get back there, which I hopefully is next year. But till next time, everyone, don't forget it's never too late to unleash your wanderlust, and stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Please share the love by liking, commenting, or subscribing, or join us in our Facebook community.